Welcome to the Audi A5 Sportback, the kind of car you buy if you go into the showroom torn between the 4-door A4 Saloon and 2-door A5 Coupe, because this, Audi will have you believe, is the best of both worlds. The original A5 Sportback launched in 2009 and combined coupe styling at the front and rear with a more practical saloon car wheelbase. As such, the latest A5 Sportback gives you an extra 60mm between the front and rear wheels, yet sleek design features such as the sloping roofline and pillarless doors remain. It's proved a popular niche segment, and of course Audi isn't the only brand to offer this body style. There's the BMW 4 Series Coupe, which is a direct rival, and a similarly priced Kia Stinger. But at the time of filming, this A5 Sportback is around £4,000 more than the equivalent A4 Saloon. So you've got to ask, is it worth it? The A5 Sportback is offered with a similar choice of engines to the A4 Saloon, with the main difference being you can't get a manual gearbox on the former. Both 2-litre petrol and diesels are available, plus there's also the flagship S5 and RS5 Sportback performance models. We'll start with the interior, and surprise, surprise, it is very similar indeed to the A5 Coupe and the A4 Saloon. But then that's nothing to complain about, because Audi interiors are still some of the best around. And central to that is the material quality and the overall layout. Now, you have to look really hard in this cabin to find some cheaper plastics. There are some underneath the seats, but they're hidden out of sight, and the important thing is that all the major touch points, such as this brushed aluminium center console, the piano black, nice soft touch materials, they're all really premium feeling and good quality. Also, the layout, as I said, you could get in this car and instantly know exactly how to do most of the major functions, which isn't the case for every car on sale today. You've got a nice dials for the climate control. It's really obvious, it's easy to understand what to do. There's the touch buttons here for all the heater settings. We've also got the steering wheel buttons, which are nicely laid out and easy to get to. It's just a really well thought out cabin, and that makes a big difference when you're spending this kind of money on a car. The infotainment system on the A5 Sportback is the MMI Navigation Plus with MMI Touch and Audi Virtual Cockpit, and that's standard across all versions. So you get the 10.1-inch central touchscreen, and you also get the 12.3-inch Virtual Cockpit, which replaces traditional dials. Now, if you've had an Audi before, you'll note that the central dial, which controls the infotainment screen, has gone, and in its place is a small storage area, if I'm not quite sure, maybe some mints or something. But anyway, it's gone, and it's touchscreen only now, which I think is a bit of a shame, because on the move, it was a really easy way to navigate the infotainment system, but no real matter, because this is still an excellent infotainment system. It's really responsive. The touchscreen, for what it's worth, is very good, and it's just very simply laid out. It's loosely based on an Android system, so you've got the various tiles for your radio, media, telephone, navigation, but all the graphics nice and crisp and up to date, and like the general layout of the cabin, everything is where you'd expect it to be. The virtual cockpit hasn't actually changed that much since we first saw it on the Mark III Audi TT back in 2014, and again, no bad thing, because it's still one of the nicest digital dashboard displays that you can get. It's very clear, there's no squinting to see various readouts, you can have the dials whatever size you like, and there's also plenty of customization as well. Not quite as much as you get on a Mercedes, but still enough for you to enjoy and have various screens in front of you, such as your phone, your media, or your navigation. Things I don't like about the A5 Sportback cabin, I mean, there's not really much, to be honest with you, but the drive select, or the drive mode selector, where you can scroll between auto and individual, efficiency, comfort and dynamic driving modes, it's actually quite out the way, and it's hard to operate when you're trying to look straight ahead. So a little bit hidden, but there is a way sort of to get around that, because there is a shortcut button on the steering wheel here, and you can map it to a number of different functions, including the drive mode select. So that kind of gets around that. The other thing that I'm not so keen on is the driving position, because while there's plenty of adjustment in the steering wheel, that's really nice there, you can go up and down as well, you do feel, if I sit up, like I'm sitting quite high up. I'm almost perched on top of the car, and this is the lowest position that this seat goes in. I can only actually move it up. And I'm not particularly tall either, so if you were actually quite tall, I think you'd probably feel like you're in a bit of an ungainly driving position. But it's worth checking out because everyone is individual. But otherwise, this is a lovely place to be. Standard equipment on the A5 Sportback is impressive and includes the aforementioned MMI Navigation Plus and Virtual Cockpit, 3-zone climate control, front and rear parking sensors, plus reversing camera, voice recognition and LED headlights. Where it's not such a lovely place to sit is here in the back. But before I go on, I will apologise for how dark it is in here and how brightly lit up I am, but it's what we've got to work with. Anyway, knee room and foot room is fine. I've got enough room there, but headroom with that sloping roofline, and if I sit up straight, it is noticeably tighter than it is in, say, an A4 saloon. So you've got to bear that in mind when you're buying this car. Also, sitting in the middle seat, there's enough space for someone to sit here, but their legs are going to have to go either side of this very, very large central tunnel, and that'll impinge on the space for the outer rear seat passengers. Still, there are some nice touches back here. We've got the 3-zone climate control, so you've got your own kind of heated or cooled space. There's also the dual chargers for the USBs. There's a 12-volt socket, and this armrest has got a nice storage place here for your coins or whatever, and also very nifty fold-out cup holders, which are a nice touch. The A5 Sportback's hatchback-style boot lid makes for a flexible load bay, as does the flat folding 40-20-40 split rear seats. With them upright, there's 480 litres of boot space, increasing to 1,300 litres with them folded down, both identical figures to the 4 Series Gran Coupe. Note, however, that the boot lip is quite large and there's no underfloor storage available. Before we get on to the driving section, here's 3 alternatives to the Audi A5 Sportback. Number 1, the BMW 4 Series Gran Coupe. The most obvious rival to the Audi, this sleek-looking BMW is due an update soon, but there's still plenty to be said for its excellent drive and efficient engines. Next up is the VW Arteon. Probably the best looking VW on sale today, the Arteon comes in as a stylish yet exceptionally practical alternative. Last but not least is the Kia Stinger. It may be a left field option, but you get the benefit of an excellent drive, huge standard kit list and a 7-year warranty. Right, driving. What's the A5 Sportback like on the road? Well, if you're hoping that it's going to be sportier than an A4 saloon, then the truth is you're probably going to be disappointed, because they are, by and large, pretty much identical to drive. But then that's probably no bad thing, as while the Kia Stinger and BMW 4 Series Gran Coupe have their rear-wheel drive platforms to thrill and entertain you, the A5 Sportback is more sensible, more relaxed. It's still agile and it's got loads of grip and traction, especially if you go for the optional Quattro all-wheel drive model. But Audi knows its customer base and isn't about to scare it off with something that's too lively in the corners. Now, this is an S-Line model with the stiffer and lower S-Line suspension, and together with the standard fit 19-inch alloy wheels, it does mean that you feel the bumps and potholes, especially at lower speeds. It is quite firm. You can get adaptive dampers on the top spec Vorsprung model, but if you don't want to spend all that money and you want a more comfortable ride, then either drop down to the sport spec car with the smaller wheels, or get the sport spec suspension, which is the comfort dynamic suspension, on the S-Line model as a no-cost option, because then you get all the niceties of the S-Line looks and the S-Line wheels, but you get more comfortable, more pliant suspension, and honestly, you won't lose anything from the driving experience at all. It'll just be much comfier. Aside from that, refinement is excellent all round, especially on this model, which is the 40 TFSI petrol version. Producing 190 horsepower or 204 horsepower in models built after September 2020, it's a strong yet relatively economical engine that, together with the 7-speed S-tronic gearbox, quietly goes about its business in getting you from A to B. It also gets a mild hybrid electrical system which allows quicker restarts at traffic lights and shuts the engine down when coasting to save fuel. Now, it wasn't long ago that a 2-litre diesel would be the most common variant in this kind of car, but things have changed to the point where now this 40 TFSI 2-litre petrol is becoming more and more common. And although the long-distance fuel economy and range aren't quite the same as a diesel, I'm getting around 40 miles per gallon from this car at the moment, you do have enough low-down torque so you don't have to rev the nuts off the thing to make any decent progress. Sure, I mean, if you want it, the power is there and you can take it right to its 6,000 RPM red line, and it's pretty quick with 0 to 62 miles an hour happening in just 7.2 seconds, but you don't have to do that, and honestly, this car feels more like a wafter in its personality. It doesn't like to be stretched that much. And anyway, this 7-speed automatic gearbox is much better at doing the lazy, slushy changes than it is doing quick-fire down changes going into a sharp corner. If you're looking to buy an Audi A5 Sportback but don't know which one to go for, then here are our top 3 choices. For the cheapest one available, it's the Sport 35 TFSI S-tronic, which comes in at just under £37,000. And it's the same if you're a company car driver too, thanks to its 31% BIK tax rating. Finally, for performance fans, you'll want the 450 horsepower RS5. The Audi A5 Sportback is an excellent choice in the niche category of medium-sized saloons come coupes. It's got a great cabin, swathes of up-to-date tech, and a drive that offers something different to its rear-wheel drive rivals. My only real reservation with this car is you'd have to really want the extra streamlined styling to have one over an A4 saloon, because the cabin is the same, they drive pretty much the same, the A4 saloon is more practical, and it's cheaper. So if you're thinking of getting one of these, the A5 Sportback, then really do have a close look at the A4 saloon, because it could be a lot better suited to you.